This is funny how we have the weaponization of sexual harassment, where we have, I'll just say flat out what it is, a dumbass in New York who basically, I'll say, overly flirted so far, being there's no investigation done currently. But from the allegations being made, none of them meet the standard for actual sexual harassment, because none of the women are saying that they ever directly said anything, which is the first thing one needs to do when they're gonna later on be quiet about something and then sex. Okay, I won't even use that as an instance because it sounds like half wrong, because it's not that I blame victims at all, because I have had exes who were in fact raped and dealt with the trauma of that. And I'll say that it's long-standing, and I believe that most instances of this are quite true. Okay? But I'm talking about rape. I'm not talking about sexual harassment. Because sexual harassment is something that you can open up your mouth about and say something. And you say something, and then you go to Human Resources, which is an outside independent party, and say something. And even so, you go home that day, you can call the police, you can get on the internet, you can do a number of things. Okay, there's no way at any fucking point in time that these women who all work in a government office said nothing to anybody, and all this time transparent passed by. And why I say it's been weaponized and it's an opportunistic thing is because of the fact that it's being done at a point in time after he pissed some people off. Okay? I'm not saying it didn't even happen. I'm saying it did happen. It's obvious it took place. Now, is it immoral? Yes. Is it wrong? Yes. Is it sexual harassment? No. It's flat out. The law requires that you say something. That's what it says. Read it. It's the second sentence in the requirement for this in the statute. That you say something, that you object to it. You have to make your objection known. Flat out. Point blank. So it can't take place unless I've made it known. Like I ask a girl out, she says no. That's what it is. She says no. Then that means that I'm not allowed to continually come back and try again and try again and try again and try again, because she's made her wishes known. She does not want to go out. That second their action of acting out, of asking her out, is the sexual harassment. That's what it's based off of. There's no grabbing of boobs. We're not talking about touching, groping, hugging is now sexual harassment. I used to hug in my kitchen all the time. If someone felt uncomfortable about it, I would open up my arms and you walk into it. It's a willing thing. If you don't, you don't. But there is no sexual harassment because there's nothing sexual about it. Now he's quite sexual. Okay? It's not hidden. He doesn't even lie about it now. But flirting is not sex. Flirting is sexual. Harassment comes in repeated, ongoing things. Now, he has an instance now where they're trying to create a chain of events because he overly flirts with everyone. If that's the case, then all of you should have said something. And you can't say something a year later on and say, well, I'm sorry I didn't say anything then. The statute of limitations in New York is what? Oh, on this stuff, I'm pretty sure it's 2 years, right? Like most injuries, in this case it's a legal injury, an emotional injury, have something called the statute of limitations. The statute of limitations on most type of injuries or legal cases and stuff like this is 2 years, I think. Don't quote me, because I, of course, just sat through hearing of law school. But 2 years. That's it. So all these other people now calling for the resign and all this other crap, it's all for show. This is what's done. This is all politicized game. And it's bullshit, frankly. Because we just had a president that, we have pictures. Same thing. Same thing. And in fact, he was a candidate at the time when all that stuff was exposed. So, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Same thing. You can't one time say, hey, we're going to let it go, and then not going to let it go for the other. It's life all around. But it's bullshit all around. So we get a clear definition of what sexual harassment is. I'll post it and run it by. But the main point is, you don't have to be a man, you don't have to be a woman. It's whoever. Okay, it can even be the same sex. It can be a lewd joke. Now, those instances are something that it's kind of hard to notify the person of. But after it's notified and made known that you don't like said lewd joke, guess what? You can't say it no more. The second time saying it is when the sexual harassment has been committed. That same standard applies to these acts. So what's the point of all this? To get him out of office. That's it. You piss some people off in politics and you got to pay another way. See? Everybody thinks all this other crap is about that. No, it's not about money. It's not about. It's about you staying in line. You stay in line with the status quo. Trump didn't stay in line with the status quo. This is what it is. That's what I keep saying. It's not one side or the other. It's both. So they all suck. Start to open up your eyes and realize this, because you're being used and your opinions are known. And guess what? They know how you're going to react, because there's a little thing called Facebook and Twitter. Those algorithms have been sold off, people. Meaning, your reactions have been put into a computer model, and they can predict the general reactions of the public. This is not conspiracy theory. These computers exist. It's what it is. It's why we all sign these little releases for information in all of our computers and all the little apps. It's a double-sided sword. And all this information has been sold back long time since in Google. Where do you guys think facial recognition software came from? The algorithm came from. We all uploaded information online, pictures, so that a computer could scan it, like my camera currently is doing to track my face. It scans and then realizes what little points are all common in human faces. Even though it's not that good, it's been used to falsely accuse people, all kinds of things, but we keep relying on these computers. This is the information that we all give up. This is how it's being used currently. Predictive modeling. It's not hard, but that's a little bit off topic. That's not sexual harassment. You got to say something for sexual harassment. You can't keep quiet. Come out a year later and say, hey, you kissed me. So the fuck what? If it wasn't sexual harassment, if it was, then why didn't you say nothing? Not to attack the victim, because I'm not all for all that, but bullshit in other words. It's a smaller instance, meaning it's not something that I could see them being truly traumatized for. None of them were raped. Okay? And yet it took them so long to come forward. This is bullshit. It's called a hatchet job. That's what it is. Stop pissing off people, Cuomo. And I'd fall back because the political career is frankly over. And we both know that, and that's just what it is. Elliot Spitzer, the exact same thing. I actually lived in New York for that. One of my exes worked for his Attorney General's office. Like, and sat in stuff. Stormy Daniels. Do any of these people? What circle, Trump? Same circle. Same circle. Same generations. This is all bullshit. But you all have a good day. Stop buying into the bullshit. And girls, men, now that I have to say both, if he asks you out or she asks you out and you don't want to, you tell them no. After that, if they do something, that's sexual harassment. Actions after you've been told that they are unwanted is defined by the law. But you have a good day. Bye-bye.